Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, Jay Fallon. So I'd done an episode a while ago about J.D. Unwin and the book that he'd written about sex and culture and about how society in history that he had studied several different cultures. Society always collapsed within several, I think it was within 3 generations, when generally you would see the sexual behavior changing in society and it became a lot more liberal and moved away from a monogamous society. Then you would see the decline, the decay of that civilization, and ultimately, that culture, that society would disappear, would collapse. So he wrote this book, Sex and Culture. So he'd studied, this was J.D. Unwin. Unwin had studied 80 primitive tribes and 6 known civilizations. Through 5,000 years of history. He claimed there was a positive correlation between the cultural achievement of a people and the sexual restraint they observed. So according to Unwin, after a nation becomes prosperous, after it becomes prosperous, think of this in Australia, we have been prosperous for quite a while now. Okay, so after it becomes prosperous, it becomes increasingly liberal concerning sexual morality. It thus loses its cohesion, impetus, and purpose, which he claims is irrevocable. Unwin stated, in the past, to the greatest energy has been displayed only by those societies which have reduced their sexual opportunity to a minimum by the adoption of absolute monogamy. In every case, the women and children were reduced to the level of legal non-entities, sometimes also to the level of chattels, also always to the level of mere appendages of the male estate. Eventually, they were freed from their disadvantages, but at the same time, the sexual opportunity of the society was extended. Sexual desires could then be satisfied in a direct or perverted manner. So the energy of the society decreased and then disappeared. When he's talking about energy, so basically he's saying what they were achieving, the energy, where they were, was society moving forward, were they achieving, what cultural differences were they creating? Were they furthering themselves or were they in decline? So this is what he's talking about with the energy. He further notes, no society has yet succeeded in regulating the relations between the sexes in such a way as to enable sexual opportunity to remain at a minimum for an extended period, and thus all societies have collapsed. His hope for the future is that by placing the sexes on a level of complete legal equality, and then by altering its economic and social organization in such a way as to render it both possible and tolerable for sexual opportunity to remain at a minimum for an extended period, a society, may flourish. The issue is every time you have some kind of cultural sexual revolution within a society and things change and you move away from monogamy within the society as being the norm, well, then the culture always collapses, and usually within, I think it was actually always within 3 generations. So I'm saying this because I did an episode only a few months ago about the career male and its insistence on promoting OnlyFans. And I honestly don't understand why they are so adamant that we need to promote OnlyFans, that we should be embracing it. And, look at all these young women making money. They're making money online. Well, they're making money online by selling themselves, by prostituting themselves. But the career male pushes this as, hey, this is a great way. This is a good career choice. So I subscribe to the career mail. So this headline here, online sensations, Queensland's 100 biggest OnlyFans stars uncovered. This is something you should be looking at, apparently. And you got the usual suspects. I remember these are the pictures I saw when I did the other article about them because they were advertising. They did a promotional piece for the online stars making all this money, the OnlyFans. So all they say is Queensland is home to some of the biggest social media personalities on the planet, and some women have chosen to convert their online fame to cash. Here's the state's OnlyFans stars with the most Instagram followers. And then it just goes down with a list of all these people with their Instagram handles, all these women with their Instagram handles. I notice it's only women. They haven't promoted any males at all. If there's males doing it, I assume there are. But it's all just the women. Now, a couple of them kind of weirdly stood out. So I'm looking at scroll through all these. Man, everyone just looks the same. They all look very much the same. I looked up a handful of their Instagram posts, and there were a couple of them that kind of stood out to me because they looked, they weren't the younger posing typical Instagram photos. One I looked up and I realized she had on the thing. Oh yeah, touring this section of Queensland in May, and I stupidly at first I thought touring, is she a musician or something? Then I read it and realized, oh, okay, so she's a sex worker, and she's. I felt a bit. I'm like, okay, I'm not that naive. It just threw me off a bit when I saw the word touring. Realized, oh, she's a sex worker and she's advertising her touring. So there was a couple actually like this, a couple of these ladies who were promoted on the Courier Mail. But this, like I said, going back to what JD Unwin says, is with this study, sex and culture. So if we as a culture move away from monogamy as being the cultural norm, and we've progressed into this society where sexually, you can be as promiscuous as you want. You can be a prostitute and call yourself an OnlyFans star. You have, a news outlet like the Courier Mail, which a while ago I would have thought was a fairly reputable. I thought were maybe a fairly reputable news outlet, but it seems like they're just in cahoots with OnlyFans or maybe a PR company, and they've decided, well, this is the way we can make extra money. We can make extra money by promoting prostitution online. This is where our society is going, and we're seeing the decay of Australia, of Australian culture, because we embrace sexual immorality, sexual depravity. We embrace a society where we can just do sexually. We can run after and do anything we want. We have a prime minister that leads the Mardi Gras parade and says, "Hey, love is love. You can do whatever, whomever you want, whenever you want, and it's all good because love is love." The Courier Mail gets around and says, "Well, OnlyFans stars, they've got a good following. They're turning it into cash." And when you read it, you realize, well, actually, quite a few of them are just straight up prostitutes. And even the ones that aren't, if they're only working online, they're still prostituting themselves because they're selling sexual content online. So they're just selling themselves online. They just haven't got what the old school pimp is. So we're seeing the decay of Australian society. We're seeing the decay of our morals, our principles, and it's being promoted by mainstream media, and no one seems to care. Is it any wonder that we have a society that will accept anything that goes along? For example, I've always wondered why we put up with some of the rubbish that China does to us when it seems sometimes you look at what China's doing and you think, well, this is the work of an enemy. This is a country, this is a government that hates Australia and hates its way of life. Why do we put up with it? Well, we put up with it because we make a lot of money. We justify it because we make money from the relationship that we have with the Chinese Communist Party. That's how we justify it. Well, we're making money, so it's all good. And that's all they're doing here. You're making money out of selling yourself, out of prostituting yourself online, so it's all good as long as you're making money. All we are seeing is the decay of our society just continually going down that slippery slope of sexual depravity. So if we had the sexual revolution in, what was it, the late 60s or early 70s or something, how far off are we before we see the complete collapse of our culture, of our society here in Australia? We're already seeing it, I believe, where we accept anything. And then we wonder why we have so much domestic violence. I personally believe we have so much domestic violence because we've seen the collapse of the family unit, the traditional family unit, where no one respects the family unit anymore, where you can just do whatever you want sexually, you can sleep with whomever you want, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many partners you've had previously. It's a, it's a good thing. It's something to be proud of. If your body count is, 100 plus, that's all good. And then we wonder why we have domestic violence at sky high numbers these days. People can't handle the kind of sexual depravity. We tell ourselves that it's all good, that you can sleep with whomever and however many people that you want, but we can't handle it. We're not made to just sleep around with countless amounts of people and think that and then psychologically be able to handle it. We have deprived ourselves, or we've rejected the notion that a family, the traditional family unit, is something that is good for society and is something that should be nurtured and held on to. And then we wonder why our young children are just running rampant on the streets because they've got no father figures to help discipline, to help show them structure and how men should behave. And they've got no mothers because all the mothers think that, well, I've just given birth and I've done my thing and look at me, I'm a hero. I've done so well, and now I'm online prostituting myself, making money. Here, all my teenage daughter, this is the way you can make a living. You don't have to go out and work properly. You can just stay at home in front of the camera and sell yourself, prostitute yourself. We're seeing the decay of our society, and mainstream media outlets like the Courier Mail are helping it along, and everyone accepts it because as long as you're making money, well, then everything is fine. Australia is on the slippery slope. We are in decay, and we are about to see the full collapse of our culture. That's just in my opinion. My name is Jay Fallon. Please let me know what you think. Check out the rest of my podcast and my music, Jay Fallon Music, online on Spotify and Apple Music. My name is Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's going